Welcome back, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled for today's explainer because we're going to unpack something truly fascinating. We're looking at L'Oréal Paris and exactly how they cracked the code to the incredibly competitive Indian hair care market. And spoiler alert, they definitely didn't do it with just a single, one-size-fits-all bottle of shampoo. They built this brilliant, multi-layered machine, and I literally cannot wait to break down exactly how they pulled it off. So, it all starts with a classic business dilemma. Think about this. How do you sell premium hair care to a massive, highly price-sensitive market? It's a tough balancing act, right? If you go too cheap, you completely lose your brand prestige. But if you go too expensive, you alienate the everyday consumer. Solving this exact puzzle is honestly what makes L'Oréal's strategy in India so incredibly fascinating to analyze.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to deconstruct this strategy in 5 key parts. First, the mass premium sweet spot. Second, solving specific hair concerns. Then, skincare science for hair. Fourth, educate, influence, and distribute. And finally, the future hair care journey.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the mass premium sweet spot, finding the perfect middle ground.
Now, positioning is everything, and L'Oréal's approach here is incredibly deliberate. To give you some context, take a brand like Kérastase, which is actually also owned by the L'Oréal Group. That brand is pure luxury. It targets highly affluent consumers with a focus on absolute exclusivity and expertise. But L'Oréal Paris? They deliberately chose to target a highly lucrative middle ground, what we call mass premium. Their formula beautifully blends science, beauty, and affordability. By doing this, they completely avoid being seen as just another basic mass-market brand while staying far more accessible than an exclusive salon brand.
So what does this actually look like in terms of cost? Well, for their Indian portfolio, the price ranges from roughly 170 to 1,000 rupees, depending on the variant and the pack size. And this pricing ladder is deeply strategic. It commands a premium over your standard supermarket shampoos, sure, but for young adults and Gen Z consumers, it's an incredibly accessible upgrade. We're literally talking about the cost of a couple of coffees to get high-end, science-backed benefits without taking on that luxury price tag.
Moving on to Section 2, solving specific hair concerns, moving beyond the generic.
You know, for decades, the standard industry question was simply, which shampoo does everyone need? Brands were constantly trying to create this ultimate, universal bottle of shampoo for the entire family. But L'Oréal, they realized that in today's highly fragmented market, that is completely the wrong question to ask.
So they flipped the script entirely. Instead of asking what everyone needs, they started asking, what is your specific hair problem? This shift to hyper-segmentation is the absolute core of their product strategy. They abandoned the traditional flagship shampoo idea. Instead, they built entire dedicated ranges for hair fall, dryness, damaged hair, frizz, and color protection.
And what's brilliant is how they anchor these very specific problems to the daily reality of the Indian consumer. Just imagine your average morning commute. You might be battling high humidity that causes insane frizz, navigating through heavy dust and pollution, or dealing with the effects of washing your hair in hard water and frequent sunlight exposure. By communicating that their products are engineered specifically for these exact local climate challenges, L'Oréal proves that they aren't just selling shampoo anymore. They are selling a targeted, localized survival kit for your hair.
This brings us to Section 3, Skincare Science for Hair, borrowing from the vanity table.
This is where we see the genius marketing tactic L'Oréal uses to really justify its premium vibe. It's called ingredient-led marketing. Instead of making vague promises about getting shiny hair, they spotlight scientifically backed ingredients. We're talking hyaluronic acid for deep hydration, arginine for strengthening and fall resistance, salicylic acid for scalp purification, and a blend of 6 oils for nourishment. Now, it might sound a little wild at first to put face acids on our scalps, right? But here's the trick. Consumers already know and trust these ingredients for their faces, so making the leap to using them on their hair, it's completely natural.
So, the equation becomes really simple. Skincare science translates directly into hair care science. What's really interesting here is how transferring this familiar clinical language from the vanity table right into the shower makes the shampoo feel technologically advanced. It gives the consumer a very tangible scientific reason to confidently pay that premium price.
Okay, Section 4, educate, influence, and distribute. Reaching the masses. Because, let's be honest, having great ingredients is wonderful, but how do they ensure these highly specific products actually get discovered and purchased?
Well, it starts with content marketing, specifically targeting those frantic Google searches we all do.
When a consumer types in, which shampoo is best for hair fall, or how do you deal with oily roots, protect colored hair, or control frizz, L'Oreal is right there to intercept them. They publish India-specific educational guides that directly answer these queries. They aren't just shouting, buy our shampoo. Instead, they're calmly saying, here's the science behind your exact problem, and here's our specific solution. It turns educational content directly into a product pitch.
Now, because hair care is an incredibly visual category, they rely heavily on a tightly structured three-step influencer funnel. First up, celebrity influencers. These big names are used to drive massive top-of-funnel brand awareness. Next, they bring in beauty creators. These creators visually demonstrate product textures, show those amazing before and afters, and handle the product education. And finally, micro-influencers step in to provide that crucial, relatable authenticity that actually converts viewers into buyers. It is a completely seamless journey from just being aware of a product to clicking checkout. And when that consumer is finally ready to buy, L'Oreal makes sure they are quite literally everywhere. Their omni-channel distribution perfectly matches their positioning. You're going to find them on all the major e-commerce platforms, sure, but they are also in modern supermarkets, traditional pharmacies, personal care outlets, and even traditional retail shops. They've managed to be premium enough to remain aspirational, but broadly available enough that you can just grab them on your normal grocery run.
Let's look ahead with Section 5, the future hair care journey, from single bottles to complete routines.
A quick look at their key strategic opportunities tells us exactly where the beauty industry is heading to stay ahead of fast-changing beauty trends and private label competitors. They are aggressively targeting Gen Z by engaging them with short-form video challenges. They're developing highly personalized digital hair diagnosis tools. Plus, they are leaning heavily into the booming trend of scalp care and introducing sustainable refill packaging, like their 500-milliliter Hyaluron Moisture Pouch. These moves perfectly align with the values and behaviors of younger, eco-conscious consumers.
But arguably their most powerful strategic move happens right at the point of sale in e-commerce. You see, they don't just want to sell you a single bottle of shampoo anymore. The funnel looks like this. You search for a hair problem, they give you a product recommendation, but then they immediately bundle it to upsell you to a complete three-step routine. Shampoo plus conditioner plus serum. By getting you to buy the whole system, they effectively lock the consumer into the L'Oreal ecosystem for those crucial repeat purchases. But what happens if a price-sensitive consumer still finds that three-step premium routine just a bit too expensive? Well, instead of cheapening their brand with deep, permanent discounts, L'Oreal uses something called trial-based premiumization. By offering small trial packs, little sachets, mini bottles, and e-commerce samples, they completely break down that price barrier. Consumers can try it out and experience those high-quality textures firsthand. Once they feel the difference, making that eventual full-sized repeat purchase becomes a much, much easier decision.
Which brings us to this incredibly powerful summarizing thought from our source material. The next stage of growth should move from simply selling shampoos to owning the consumer's entire hair care journey. It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? Take a quick look around your own bathroom. How many of those single standalone impulse buys are about to be transformed into personalized, multi-step, scientifically backed routines by clever marketers? It is an absolutely fascinating shift in how we consume beauty. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.